Bada bing, killer. Welcome to the Best Man Podcast. We're here to talk about everything that really pisses us off from day to day, pop culture conversations, music conversations. That's my best man, Joe. What's going on?
That's the best man, Dave Nestor. What's up, buddy?
Love you, love
Hanging, man. I think we might have an intro. I don't know.
I think we come up with something similar to that. Just keep spitballing.
Mhm.
We take turns.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Um,
cannot fucking wait to get into this conversation today. I've been sitting here at the house stewing your travel situation. Like, I would have
Dude.
lost my mind. I would have actually just stayed at home and not done it.
It was pretty frustrating, for sure. I mean, traveling back was a lot easier, but it also made me thankful for like cell phones and being able to vent. Carrie and I have a pretty good tolerance for certain things, but when we don't, we're able to kind of balance each other out. Like if she gets real pissed, I help her calm down without telling her to calm down because that's like a trigger for her. And for a lot of people, if you're pissed off, you don't want to be told to calm down, and that's just the way the world is. I don't know if you feel the same way. If you're mad, do you get mad when people say calm down?
Um, I am to the point in my life where it takes a lot for me to get there. Like, I was listening to a podcast the other day and they talked about how it's a 40-some-year-old professional on ESPN talking about how he would fight somebody today. Like, it would take so much for me in my life at this point to be willing to fight somebody. Like, you would literally be
Yeah.
having to like go in on my kids, like kick them, like push my wife over, something like that, like physically harm somebody in front of me for me to
Hmm.
get there. Outside of that, man, like nothing you do in your life can affect me that bad where I want to fight, like actually fight.
Yeah, I mean, it would take a lot. Like, I guess one of the things would be defending your family.
Yeah,
You know, any of your kids or your wife, obviously.
yeah,
Um, besides that, I'm with you. It would take a
yeah.
lot.
So before we get into this rabbit hole, we talked about each of us introducing each other. I'm
Yeah.
introducing you for the world to know, and you're
Hmm.
introducing the world for me to know. And I've thought about a few things, but I have not really put much thought into this, and I think that's going to be the best part of doing this is making us do it live. Have you done kind of on the same board as this?
Yeah, I mean, you mean besides the intro to the best man and then saying each other's
Yeah,
name
like I'm
in addition to
introducing
that?
you to the world. Nobody knows who you are, David Nestor,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
introducing you onto the stage. So like, uh, have you put any thought into that, or are we gonna?
No, no. I mean, it's kind of like when when you get asked to be a best man in a wedding and you don't write the speech.
That's
You get up
literally
there and
why I
just
wanted
make
to
a
do
fool of
this.
yourself.
That is the point because I like when I did your best man speech, I literally had thought about like 35 different things, and then I get handed a mic. I'm like, all right, well, let's go, let's wing this.
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of stories, so you just have to pick whatever you think is the most inappropriate to get the most attention, or what's the most appropriate depending on your audience. So, like my wedding, I know you like had to pump the brakes on some of it because you didn't want my dad to have a heart attack.
Yeah. So like, not even that. Like introducing who you are. So like, I'm gonna go. I'll give it a whirl, and I'm gonna knock this shit out of the fucking park and put you on the spot where you have to fumble around on your words. So that is David Nestor. That is my best man 2 times go around. Um, drummer extraordinaire. I like to say when I take videos of you in the past, I would say the one, the only, the David Nestor.
Nice.
I like to tell a story about I had a drum set growing up, and I had to learn how to play, read music, learn how to play the drums, go to the whole thing, take lessons,
Hmm.
and then I had this drum set. And this motherfucker comes over to the house, and literally within like a few hours, like he's doing shit that I couldn't do, and I'm like, all right, this is done for me. And like that's him. And he took off with it, man. And like now look at you. You're living in Nashville. You played for some really big bands. You played for some not big bands. You've basically have done music your way or whatever way that you seen
Hmm.
fit for when was the last time you had a job like like a like a job where you're clocking in and out like 6 years ago?
No, no, it's been closer. I mean, the touring life kind of makes you go up and down when it comes
Yeah,
to jobs.
but like
But I mean, I've been almost full time since 2015. So
yeah,
yeah, I would say on and off with jobs that I wouldn't count as like real
yeah.
jobs, and then a couple where they really wanted me to go in as a career, and I couldn't do it. Now I'm full time, full on, no other jobs, all music, all drums, doing lessons, playing, drum teching, all drums.
Drum teching, playing, doing the thing, living the dream. Like you are
Yeah,
the
man.
number one. Like outside of my kids and my wife, you are the number one person I brag about because it's fucking cool. And
I appreciate that, man.
like something I like when we started talking about doing this. Like the number one thing I wanted to say was like there was a few times where like you had the opportunity to like bow out, and, like get a job, do the 9 to 5 thing, do that whole thing, and like each time like there was a decision you had to make, and it was you bet it on yourself each time, and it was fucking cool. And like me and my brothers talk
Yeah, I
about it,
mean,
like I think he's gonna get a job, man. I think he's gonna quit. Like and we would go back and forth on whether it was the right thing to do or not. And then at the end of the day, like each time you kept betting on yourself, and like it's fucking cool, man. Like it's cool.
yeah, appreciate that. I think the marriage ending was one of the best things for my life
My life too, man. I never got to
ever.
see you.
Yeah, you're not the only one who says that. So, I mean, we've all made mistakes, and I think we're both better off. So
Oh yeah.
let's be respectful there and not talk shit about anybody. But yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate
Mhm.
that. Yeah, I don't even know where I would start. I mean, I know if okay, I can go ahead and give it a shot, give it a whirl. All right, everybody, this is Joe Fouts right in front of me. This guy right here, this dude. He has been more supportive than a lot of people, even in my family. Actually, definitely more supportive than my family when it comes to the music industry side of things. My entire life. So growing up with Joe, he probably had no idea that this was actually going to be something I pushed for. Um, we had no idea what we were doing anyway. I think all we cared about was sports and girls. I think that's all Joe still cares about. But obviously, he only cares about his wife when it comes to women.
One girl.
Um, one girl, one girl. Unless you have a baby girl.
No,
Oh yeah,
literally
no, it's not
impossible.
going to happen. In any case, yeah. So Joe was my best man for my first wedding, and if that ever happens again, he'll be my best man in the next one. Yeah, cheers to that. But some of the things that people don't know about when it comes to Joe, he's got a hard exterior, but he's got a heart of gold, and he's always been supportive. And Carrie and I were talking about this because it's you know how it is when it comes to like friendships or what people would call friendships. We both have had hundreds, maybe thousands of friendships that really weren't real friendships.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that sucks. It shouldn't be that way. Like, I've met a couple people that had a hard time choosing their best man. And I was like, how? Everybody sucks. What are you talking about? It should be very easy. You should have one person you know you can rely on. And I mean, that's definitely you. But besides that, I really don't know what else to say besides being proud of you with coming down to take care of your brother. And did you even think that you'd be in the same place for this long?
No, man. Like when I dropped out of college to come down here and help brother out, like I had no idea what to do with life. And like I knew what I didn't want to do, and I knew what I
Hmm.
did want to do, and like I didn't want to do school. And like
Yeah.
I just happened to get a job and kind of become good at it, and like the world took off, and like 15 plus years later, I'm still here. So it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But no, I mean, I'm thankful for you, dude.
yeah, man. So like the one story I wanted to tell, like we told about on the last one and a couple ones ago, the practice episodes, but I wanted to put it out there because like the very first time I remember meeting, we were at church. Yeah, we grew up church kids, and I was in the back of a van, whatever. Like we met at church, whatever. I told you who I was living next to, and you come flying out of nowhere, and like, hey, you said you live next to these people, and you pop in with this kid that my mom and his mom were pregnant together, best friends. and uh, we'll just call him Drew and not put the full name out there. We'll call him Drew, and you two pop in, and like me and Drew instantly have this moment of like, oh, like I haven't seen you in forever. But, like his mom used to babysit me, like my mom used to babysit him. Like we did the whole thing, and like me and him were tight forever. But like from that moment on, like as a fourth grader showing up at a different school, different area, like you instantly were just like putting yourself out there, and we became friends. And I don't think we've looked back since then, man. Like it's been cool. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to do this podcast, talk about life, talk about things that's going on right now, talk about the past, talk about anything else, bring some friends on, brothers, sisters, whatever we got going on. Like I'm looking forward to it. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun.
So
Well, what do you want to start with today, man? What do you want to chat about?
I want to talk about what just happened in your life over the last week. Like you had a lot of highs and you've had a lot of lows, and I am so excited to hear about it because like it is
This
like the
is
number one thing that everybody freaking hates about vacation.
necessary for the story.
Um, the traveling part of vacation. Like
You can kind of hear it.
some goes well, some doesn't. Some have what just happened to Dave.
So, recently in the flying world, flights have been getting really, really screwed up, and I was hoping it wouldn't be something we had to deal with. So we chose to fly American Airlines to go on vacation.
Which
What
I
is
mean,
today?
like
Today is
not to
Wednesday.
cut you off because I'm going to do this 5 million times throughout this, but like
That's all right.
I've flown American Airlines majority of the time I fly, no issues, never. Like maybe a delay here and there with like snow or something, but like never anything actual drastic issues. You know.
Let me move this. I think this is going to help. Yeah, I mean that's the weird part is a lot of people are like, "How in the world have you had so many issues?" And I'm just like, I do travel for a living, um, but besides that, yeah, I mean we chose to do American Airlines and we flew. We were only gone for 6 days total, so we were supposed to fly out last Wednesday, and we were scheduled to fly out at 5:50 a.m. from BNA, which is Nashville's airport, and so that means obviously waking up super early. We got up, I think it was like 2:30 or 3. We live about 45 to 50 minutes away from the airport. So we wanted to make sure we got there in time.
Is that airport like
Carrie's
how
app,
Cincinnati's is? How it's like not in the city at all? Or are you just that far away from
it's not in the city. It's actually on the east side of the city, and we live in the
it?
northwest.
Okay, so just
So
opposite
we're
end of the world.
yeah, we can get into Nashville in 35 minutes if there's no traffic, but it's starting to become like the busiest city, so lots of traffic. But yeah, so the airport, if you look at an actual map, it's on the east side, and yeah, so we got up super early, did our thing, got to the airport, um, had to park in the garage or whatever, and then check our bags or check one bag. She wanted to make sure we had a suitcase full of stuff, and her app wouldn't let her check in the day before. But instead of us figuring it out, which is probably our mistake, I didn't think about it because I always check in on my phone, and when I check in, I'm good. And I assumed she had done that. So when we got to the airport in the morning, it said she didn't have a flight. The weird part was we bought our flights with flight credits. And we actually had $16 left over. So they actually owed us money. So it's not only did we get them for free because they screwed up in the past, we had money extra to go towards another flight. In any case, we got in line. I got the bag tag and everything, and I was going to turn it in. So she got in one line, I got in another line. It's 4 or 4:30 in the morning. Our flight boards in an hour, and these lines are massive.
Really?
For some reason, on that Wednesday, and we chose American Airlines because of the flight credits, but also because we heard a lot of bad things about Southwest recently because they had so many bad flights. The Southwest line was completely empty because everybody thought what we thought. So we bogged down American Airlines, I guess. So once we get up to the front, she was in that line, I was in this other line. I turned in the bag. Once we get up to the front, the lady gives us a phone number to call. and it's the same phone number that Carrie had been on the phone with all morning. Basically, she was having a hard time understanding the guy on the phone.
I mean, you don't
We
have
couldn't.
to. I
There was
don't
a
think
language barrier.
that's a big thing. Like, I mean, I have
Yeah, so there was a language.
my IT department that we have to go through. His name is Tom. They're all named Tom. None of them is that. That's their real name.
None of them is actually Tom.
It's not like,
No, but in any
it
case,
is
there was a
what
there was a
it
language
is.
barrier.
American outsources IT customer service stuff
Right.
to other countries.
Right. So yeah, there was a language barrier, so he couldn't help us. So we had already been on the phone with him for the full 45 minutes she was in line. So when we get up to the front, they give us the same number. And we tell him, like, we were just on the phone this entire time trying to figure this out. And by the time we actually got up to the front, it was past our boarding time. And they said that since we hadn't checked in yet, we can't get on that flight. So because of that, we got on the phone directly. They gave us a different number to talk to, a different hub that wasn't as busy or something. I don't remember. But we finally got onto a different flight, and that was a half-hour conversation for Carrie on the phone. And once we did, we still had to go up to the front and get back in line because we still had the kiosks. Most of them weren't working. So we had to do that to get a ticket or whatever. So once we got through, our bag was already in Miami because that's where we were flying. And they put us on an 11:30 flight. So we were like, all right, better than nothing. We're going to accept it and try to stay positive and move on. So we went and got food somewhere, chilling there for a little while. In the middle of us eating food, Carrie was like, our flight just got canceled. And I was like, wait, like our new one? She said, yeah. And I was like, are you sure? And she was like, well, it got canceled, but then they canceled the cancel or something. And then they just pushed it back an hour. And then they pushed it back 2 hours. And then they officially canceled it. They told everybody there weren't any flights available that day. So we all had to come back the next day. So we were able to get on the phone again, waiting on the phone for like 45 minutes to an hour while I was sitting in the airport, trying to make sure that we couldn't get on another flight and stay there because we had already made the arrangements, right? So we found out we couldn't. We tried everything. We could not get on another flight. We called the resort we were staying at, and they let us cancel the first night. Thankfully, super nice people.
That's huge on them, man.
The
Like,
rental
shout
car
out to them.
company, yeah, the rental car company was super kind. They let us cancel that for the first day as well. So the only thing that ended up being a really, really big issue is they weren't honoring our credit for her flight. So they were trying to charge us. I think our flights were only $218 round trip a piece, by the way. They tried to charge her $479 for a new flight. We're like, wait a minute. So like, if a flight gets canceled, you guys just keep that money? They were like, no. If a flight gets canceled, we book another flight for you. So we were like, exactly. So we already purchased this flight. So why are you trying to charge us now? They were giving us this big long spiel. Carrie was like, I'm going to stay on the phone until you make sure we get on this flight, and I'm not paying a dime. So on the drive back home, we called our pet sitter.
I can see Carrie becoming a little lady G when it
Oh,
comes
yeah.
to this. Like,
Oh yeah,
like
she wasn't
I'm the
putting up with
person,
any of
like,
it.
I don't have, like, my time is worth more than me sitting here talking to you. I'll pay the $100 to never talk to you again, and I will tell them that to their face or
Yeah.
over the phone or whatever I have, and not like. Shout out to Carrie on that one.
Yeah. So when we were driving home, we had booked another flight for the next morning. I think it was even earlier. It left at like 5:05 instead of 5:55 or something like that. It was like almost an hour earlier. So then I was like, even if we're checked in, which we were, for sure, I'd also call to make sure they didn't like mess with our bag. I guess how many pieces of? I think there were 600 pieces of luggage that made it to Miami with a bunch of missed flights or a bunch of canceled flights or whatever. So they had to organize this entire back room with these stocked shelves.
I'm sure that was a nightmare.
The guy that finally helped us get our bag, which that was another 45 minutes once we did get to Miami, just to wait in line to get our bag. It was a nightmare, dude. Everything. It was just one thing after another. Then it was an hour and a half waiting in line for, maybe that's an exaggeration, maybe an hour waiting in line for the budget rent-a-car. So once we finally got down there, it was, a little bit more smooth sailing. We had a good trip, but yeah, flight was delayed, canceled. Or no, didn't make it because they messed it up. Tried to charge us for the flight. Finally got that one. Got in through security. Did all the fun stuff you do in security. Sat there for 2 or 3 hours, spending way too much money on airport food, which is hilarious how much they actually charge people. Then it ended up getting canceled completely. We had to cancel all
It's
of our
not
plans.
as
It was
bad
crazy.
as like stadium, as bad as like stadium uh, food and drinks, but it's like fucking close.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, that was the hardest time I've had flying in a while. And if people are going to be listening to this and they don't know that I work full time in the music industry, I'm usually on tour. And so this last year, I was flying like twice a week sometimes, like round trip twice a week kind of idea. Or I would fly somewhere and get picked up by our tour bus and then fly back or whatever was convenient and made the most sense financially. Because the way that they try to do it is they always give us hotel rooms on days off or on travel days. So is it worth it to buy everyone in the crew a hotel room or just get flights? It usually ends up actually being cheaper sometimes to just fly us home for days off. So yeah, man, I would say you want to triple and double check everything before you even leave to go to the airport when it comes to checking into flights, especially right now. I don't know what's going on, but it's a big deal and it's ruining a lot of travel plans, especially for everybody over the holidays. And I would thought we were going to avoid it because we went after the holidays, but it's still going on.
Well, I mean, have like talk about pop culture, modern events. Like, you hear what happened today with these planes?
I don't think so.
All right, so I don't need to be fact checked on this, but from my understanding, uh, the FAA, the flight whatever administration, got hacked, didn't get hacked, crashed, like something happened to where all these flights that were up in the air, like just all of a sudden lost autopilot and had no idea. Like, all right, now you have to figure it out. Like, and all of these planes, like so, like like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flights got canceled today because of this issue right now. But
I
like,
don't
it's
understand.
completely different from what you've gone through. But like,
Yeah.
something is wild going on with like the whole flying thing. But like, for a trip over 8 hours, I'm flying.
Yeah, yeah, of
I'll
course.
take.
I
I'll,
mean,
I'll roll the dice on it. Fuck that.
yeah, I mean, we actually talked about we try to do 2 trips a year because I usually get busy with my job from April to at least October. So we try to do at least one in January. Obviously, financially, depending where we're at, um, and then March. So sometimes we can do it after tax season or something. Um, Near my birthday, not for my birthday, but just another reason to go to the beach or go to a warm climate or go to a
Yeah,
show out west and like stay somewhere for a weekend, something like that. So we're planning on doing that, but I think we're going to drive this time to Pensacola because Pensacola Beach is, I think, only 7 hours from us, and we drive 6 or 7 hours almost every time we go see her mom, and then another 6 or 7 hours every time we go to see um, her grandparents. So like that's pretty easy drive.
yeah. Like, my threshold is like, if I'm going like that 6 or 7 threshold, like I'm not doing more than that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
If I can't afford to, like, I can afford to pay for the plane ticket for more than that, like, I I don't need to be going.
I don't need to go,
But
right?
so like, traveling, I've never had like flights cancel. Like, I've flown a lot. Like, I've had like a few delays here and there, but nothing outrageous. Like, my biggest like travel debacle, like, I had no control over. So like, when I turned 21, my brothers paid for us to go to a Three Sheets to the Wind pub crawl. So me, TJ, Jeremy go to Boston. So me and Jeremy fly out of Dayton, go to Boston. TJ was already in North Carolina and on a family vacation. Well, he just had like a shoulder surgery. So like, he's in like the sling and he can't move his arm,
Oh,
right?
jeez.
And he's on vacation with his wife and kids, and then flies up from North Carolina to Boston. So we meet TJ in Boston and do the whole thing, do the whole weekend. Some of it a fucking blast. Some of it not at all. They mailed it in on us. But
That's a bummer.
so on the way back, there was this bad thunderstorm coming through, and like, uh, so me and Jeremy, our flight left before TJ. So we land in Cleveland, and the storm hit real bad. So me and Jeremy are stuck in Cleveland for like 15 hours, and like the whole time I'm just looking at Jeremy like, let's fucking just go. Like, let's rent a fucking car and go home. We're 3 hours from home. Let's just go.
Mhm.
Like, our flight doesn't leave for another 5 hours. Like, let's just rent a car and go. Like, argued with me, argued with me, argued with me. So we end up waiting forever to get into this fucking flight to go home. From Cleveland to fucking Dayton, 3 hours away. So TJ, his flight left an hour after ours, and he got stranded in Boston. So he had all of his luggage from his vacation, and then also from the weekend in Boston, and only had one arm. So his flight gets canceled. He had to go like drag everything that he had to go find a hotel. Like his was a nightmare.
Yeah.
So me and Jeremy, we get back in Dayton, right? So I've been telling him all fucking day, let's rent a car, let's rent a car, let's rent a car. No, argued with me. Like, I get it. I'm not 25. I couldn't rent the car. I was gonna pay for it, but like whatever. So when we were in Boston, we're packing up the day and packing up our shit, and his keys were in his luggage. So took his keys out, threw it in his hat. Like, you don't need to have your car keys in your luggage if the shit gets lost. I don't want to deal with that, right? So throw it in his hat. So flight gets delayed, all this shit. We land in Dayton, waiting for luggage, not there, not there, not there. Go to the kiosk, like, hey, like, we just landed, flight got delayed all these times, like, where's our luggage? Look it up. Oh, your luggage is in a completely other state. Like, well, that fucking sucks. Either way, we're home. We're just going home. Jeremy's like, well, my keys are in the luggage. I'm like, no, I took your keys out of the fucking luggage because I thought that was fucking stupid. I put it in your hat so you put it in your pocket. He's like, well, I didn't want to deal with that, so I put it back in my luggage. So we land in Dayton and we have to rent a fucking rental car.
That's so
Like,
funny. You had to anyway.
yeah, so double down on the shit. So we land in Dayton. We get back to the car. We get back to the house. Wake up the next morning. We have to take the rental car back to the airport, right?
Mhm.
So we take the rental car back to the airport. Get there. Like, he had a spare set of keys, so he grabbed them just in case. But we get back up to the airport, and they sent somebody to our house to drop off the luggage. So like, if we were waiting on the luggage to be able to take the car back, like, it was like,
So
dodged
stupid.
a few fucking bullets, but at the end of the day, man, like, this was a nightmare. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it sucked.
That does suck. Yeah, next time just make sure you tell Jeremy. Do not put your keys in your luggage, dude. You
Dude,
do.
we've had
Never,
this
never.
conversation so many times. Like,
Always put it
this
in your
exact
carry on, always put it in your backpack. So that's like obviously I travel a lot, but that's what I've learned. You always have to keep all of your essentials that you're allowed to fly with, including your keys, on you at all times.
Yes. So like nowadays, like, I got a 9-year-old who just turned 9. We got a 2.5-year-old and a baby who's almost about to turn 1. So this past summer we went on vacation to Myrtle Beach. Like, we were gonna fly, but like, flying with a bunch of little ones is difficult. Like, we need a couple of them more mobile. Like, so we're like, let's go somewhere close enough to drive, but that's gonna be decent. So we go to Myrtle Beach, which people can tell me about what they think about it, what they don't think about it.
We used to go there
Like,
when I was a kid. We loved it. There's a lot
it's
to do for
perfect for
families.
kids, man. Like,
Yeah, it's
and
great
like,
for families.
luckily, like, we swung and knocked it out of the park with places to eat. Like, we found so many good places to eat. Like, that was the one thing like I love. Like, a lot of people complain about their food, touristy food or whatever, but like, we found some really good places. But I mean, we're traveling when we drove down there. I mean, we had all these kids was like a year and a half, 6 months, and 8. And like, we left so early in the morning, and like, they did all right. Like, Jess was a G when it comes to this. Like, she's climbing in and out of the back seat into the front seat, feeding kids, changing diapers while I'm driving, and like, driving's easy.
Champion.
put on some music, put on a podcast, put on something, and just grind through it.
Hmm.
But like, she's the one like in the back seat dealing with them screaming, dealing with them getting mad. Like it was
Doesn't sound
not
fun for her.
no.
But good for her for doing it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So like when we started this whole thing, we started having this conversation about doing this podcast about the travel situation. We started getting in a conversation about people who have power in their roles, in their jobs that
I wondered
aren't
when we were going to
shit.
get to this category.
Oh, we're gonna get to it. Like this is more of what I was so excited about today. Let's get into this part. So
Wait. Before we get into this, Joe and I have a shared folder on our phones that we can add ideas and just have mostly podcast ideas for this specific podcast, but we put notes in there for ideas of what we want to talk about or subjects or whatever. I was doing this and putting a bunch of funny things that were happening. Not funny at the time, but funny for Joe. I was entertaining Joe because I was putting a bunch of really interesting situations we were going through with the whole travel debacle that happened last week.
I was absolutely losing.
Please don't
it.
read
Like,
these.
I would get a notification that it was popping up, and like I would like get so excited, like jump in there and read it, and like just start losing it.
Yeah,
Like,
don't read these out loud. There's a reason why they're private.
oh, I was gonna make you read them out loud.
I mean, I will, but I have to read some of them first to make sure I don't say anything I shouldn't say.
I mean, the first one that you put on here, like me and you had like text conversations. What triggered you to start adding all these is professionals that are cocky but ain't shit.
I mean, that's
So, like-
that's a mean way of saying it, but yeah,
No, like
I know what you mean though.
so like the reason why we got onto this was like the airline people, not the pilots, not the stewardesses, the people that are checking in luggage. Like they have all the power in the world, but none of the power in the world.
Yeah,
Like they have like I feel like they like if you take a step back and look at it, like they probably have to deal with a ton of bullshit, right? Like people yelling at them and they have no control over everything. They don't cancel a flight. They don't do it. Like there's nothing that they have control over. But some of them wield a big fucking stick.
yeah. So I'm gonna chime in right here and say, just like any profession, but since you are specifically talking about, people that check people into flights and check bags or whatever, you don't have to have that job. So why in the world are you an asshole to me when you can go work somewhere else and not even deal with people? So there's one of the things that, in my opinion, needs to be said on. Hopefully, we have some listeners, but we'll see. Even if it's just our friends, I want them to chime in and let me know what they think of this. So if we start getting comments or whatever, let me know what you guys think. Even if you're having a bad day and you work in customer service, in my opinion, and maybe Joe's too, you should never tell a customer or a client that you're having a bad day and ask them to be patient because you're having a rough one. Nobody goes to a restaurant to hear your complaints. Nobody goes to a bar to listen to the bartender complain. People go to the restaurant to enjoy food and have conversations with the people they're with. If you sit at the bar at the restaurant, or if you go to a bar, you want the bartender to listen to you if you want to have a conversation with them. So I never thought it was a good thing to be in customer service if you have a bad attitude towards anyone or have a bad day and then project it to everybody that's around you. Everyone has bad days. I was probably a little bit more pissed off than Carrie when it came to what happened at the airport. And on the
Yeah,
way
but, like-
back, just certain
But
things
like
were triggering
your
me.
bad day versus their bad day, they're getting paid for their bad day.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing
paying.
money for
Yeah.
your bad day. You're
Mhm.
paying money
I'm paying to
and
have a bad
probably
day.
losing money for your bad day. Like
Mhm.
fuck you. No, you might be having a rough day. I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
Like there's levels to it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
and,
So I
like,
mean,
you
people
said
can tell us
something
what they
that
think.
like you said something that triggered me though. Like you said that people don't go to bars and restaurants to not hear about your problems, and like I mean that's an issue. Like in the restaurant industry, like when people come in, they mistake regulars for friends, and like some regulars are friends. Not all regulars are friends, and like some people mistake that and start word vomiting things that regulars don't care about. They came here to leave their life,
Hmm.
to forget about it, whatever drama's going on in their life, get away from it, come to the bar, have some drinks, watch whatever, do whatever. But like a lot of people in the service industry mistake that as this is my friend, I'm going to vent to them. They didn't come here for that.
Mm. That's a good point. I mean, um, I've had service industry jobs, not just in the restaurant business, but also like retail. And I've probably done this when I was younger, but I don't think that any adult human, doesn't matter what you are, any adult human should ever come to work and then do what you're talking about, word vomit to customers, to clients, whether if you're at Target and someone's like, "Do you need help finding anything?" and you say, "No, but how's your day going?" Because I know Carrie's asked people that, and it's really like she's kind. She's so kind to everybody, and a lot of the time, people respond, but then they just keep talking. And she actually just wanted like "I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well too," or like a quick interaction. She is kind, but she also doesn't want to stay there and talk to you for 5 minutes about your problems. So
So,
there's a limit to that. So I told her a
s-
couple times like, we shouldn't ask people how they are if we're in a rush.
so the years ago, like in my industry that I work in, like you get stuck in small talk, and like you have to find your way to get in and out of it. But like one of the things I loved, I had a customer. I was like, "How you doing?" He was like, "I'm doing well," and that ends it. He's happy. I'm happy. We go our separate ways. I acknowledged him. He acknowledged me. We did our part, right?
Hmm.
And like the, how are you doing? I'm doing good. How about you? That is that everybody answers that question like that. But like neither one of us are being honest. And like, do I want him to actually tell me like his life story, or does he want me to tell me my life story? Like, no, we're just acknowledging each other. Let's keep it moving.
Right.
And how you doing? I'm doing well. Ends it. Let's keep it going.
Right.
I fucking love that. And like I adopted it. Like,
Yeah.
and like I'm in the service industry. I get it. And like I get that we need to acknowledge people. And like if you want to continue to have that conversation, I'll sit here and listen to you. I ain't got nothing else going on. But at the same point, like if I'm running your food or I'm doing something and excuse me, how you doing? Like you're gonna word vomit me for 5 minutes about what you have going on. Like
Right.
it's a different story.
Yeah. I mean, I know Carrie and I have had this conversation a couple times. She doesn't mind if I use her name on the podcast because she might be a guest on here eventually anyway. But she
She
had,
wants to be so bad.
huh?
She wants to be so bad.
Yeah, yeah. She wants to be on the podcast. She loves talking. We have some good conversations. Um, so when we've talked about it, she always has the kind-hearted way of looking at it. Like, what if that person's just lonely and they just have no one to talk to? I mean, I I don't know what to tell her in those situations. Besides, it's just not appropriate for the workplace, in my opinion. Um, when it comes to certain things, obviously. But obviously, we can go down that rabbit hole for too many hours. One of the things I did want to touch on, since you brought it up, we're talking about professionals that are cocky but don't really have a leg to stand on to be cocky. Um, it's a nice way
I'm
of saying they ain't shit,
so
was what
excited
Joe would
about
say.
this conversation. I'm so
Um,
excited about it.
um, so with that being said, I mean, which
A
direction do I want to go
bartender
with this?
wearing sweatbands on his forearms.
Say what?
A
Bartender
bartender
wearing
wearing
sweatbands?
a
Oh
bartender wearing
man.
sweatbands.
Well, I gotta see what else he's wearing too, because if he's wearing like a bunch of other stuff that kind of goes with that same kind of person, no, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying like if you see a guy come into a place and he's wearing armbands, most likely he's gonna wear other things that you're just like, okay, that makes sense. That's who he is.
Like my pet peeve is when I walk into a bar and I see the bartender wearing a sweatband with like the bottle opener tucked into it.
Does
Like
the dude tricks too?
you don't got pockets.
He does tricks too, doesn't he?
I don't think I've ever had a pair of pants that didn't have pockets. Like I know girls don't have pairs of pants with pockets. But I know I have pockets.
I mean, what is that movie with Tom Cruise where he's a bartender?
Yeah, God. Like okay, like so like there's like you're at like a busy club, something like that, and like you have a bottle opening you really like okay, like I guess I get you. But like if I walk into a bar and like there's like 5 bar stools and like one person at it, and you're doing that, like you're doing too much, man. Like you think you're sweet, like you
He
want to
needs to go
knock
to
all
the
5 of these customers out of the park.
longest bar in the world up in Put Bay.
Oh my god, all of
That's where he
those
needs to
guys wear
work.
that. All of those people up there wear that.
I believe it. They're
Like
insane.
put
That place is nuts.
like Put Bay is
That's a whole nother level. But
yeah.
no, I don't know if it's in the same realm as the cockiness of some people that isn't deserved. I mean, I don't even know if anybody can be cocky if we're really going to go down that path. I just think there's certain things that don't make any sense to me. Um, but one of the things that Carrie brought up, like I was saying, is um, it's a power thing, is what she is suggesting when it comes to certain things. The people that check in your luggage or check you into a flight, they have the ultimate power. They can work as slow as they want. They can work as efficiently as they want. But there's power in next, please. What do you want? Okay, cool. Yep.
For sure.
There you go. Have a good day. Next, please. So there's some people that just don't care, but I think also there is a power thing. Like I hate all these people that are traveling, is what I think that most of those people that are being assholes are saying in their heads.
What about like I'm trying to get you there, and like I know I can get you there. Like you're trying to be really nice about this, and like we're trying to be upset about this. Like be mad. Like you're a 16-year-old boy. You're getting ready to hop on your fucking inner tube and go flying down this uh, tunnel on this tube slide to catch up to this girl in front of you that you've been trailing all day, and this lifeguard cockblocks you and holds you off on being there because he has the power to tell you when you can go. Like, fuck that lifeguard. Like, you ain't shit.
I've never had that happen. That's a very specific situation. It sounds like it happened to you though. I'm
I
sorry
mean,
that a lifeguard did that to you and you're scarred. You put lifeguards on there, and I was just like, I mean, to be honest with you, yeah, they some of them can be cocky, but most of them have abs, and I don't. So it's one of those things where, I mean, I'd probably be a little more cocky if I had abs.
so I mean, a life like
I had abs once.
I have a fake tooth in my front. One of
Yeah,
my teeth goes fake. It was from a lifeguard.
yeah.
Lifeguard was the one that knocked that out. Like I have a soft spot in my heart for lifeguards, but like at the same point, like that I feel like that's one of those professions where they're walking around with their abs, they're tan, they're feeling some type of way, walking around, feeling some sort of egotistical way. They ain't shit. Like they ain't shit. Like let's say it. Let's call a spade a spade. Like
um, I'm trying to think of other professions. We hit on bartenders and servers and airline employees and lifeguards. I guess we can go down the path of musicians. That's something that would definitely spark something in me because
I
um,
mean
there's a lot of really really cocky musicians that shouldn't be at all, and it doesn't make any sense to me because it's a similar
I mean
industry to any other one. There's always going to be things that people do that you're going to be mad about or whatever, and there's hierarchies everywhere. But don't don't be a don't be a dick, and
so
there's
I
no
mean like
reason for it.
I'm not in the music. I'm not in the music industry. I've never have been. I've never played for a band that went through this, but I've been around bands who have been around other bands, and like that. We'll we'll talk about. I want to get to a specific thing, but before we get there, like local bands, like local bands that make it big and then come back. Be grateful. Show people how to do it. Don't be an ass.
Hmm.
Like I've been in, and I'm not going to put you in involved in any of this. I'll just say I've been in rooms where like big local bands go out, get huge, come back, and like they're fucking dicks to everybody. they're assholes to everybody, and like you don't need to be like that. Like
Mm-mm.
be supportive. You came from here. You played at this venue less than 5 years ago. Like
Mm-hmm.
you are not bigger than this venue anymore. You are not bigger than us anymore. Like yeah, you had some good hits. Like but don't be that guy.
Yeah,
And
it's really
like
frustrating to see. I think, if you, I guess it could be across the board when it comes to any industry. You find some little snippet of success, and then all of a sudden you're better than everybody, holier than now, right? That shouldn't be
yeah.
the way it is, because you could always make more money. You can always advance more. You can always do more as a human. But we're all humans, so like, why are you all of a sudden better than everybody?
So my story I want to tell. I'm gonna do my best not to say names. I'm not gonna say band names. But as I go into the story, I think you're gonna start picking up what I'm saying. Is there's a local people. I'm not gonna say local band. Like I don't really know where they claim they're from. So local people from this Dayton area
Hmm.
got in a pretty good sized band, and they were somewhere and opening up for a much larger band, like a band that had a huge hit in the early 2000s, and they had an anti-bullying campaign. Like that was their big thing, was anti-bullying, and
I
like
know
they were
exactly what you're talking about.
bullying other local bands
Hmm.
out of merch tables, out of ticket sales, because they didn't hold their end of the bargain on ticket sales. They didn't hold their end of the bargain on whatever they felt it was. And like somebody from our era, you were actually in a band with the dude. Uh, like to this day, like he's one of my favorite people. Like I run into him like once or twice a year, and like me and him have a full dap up, have a good moment, and then we keep it moving. Like I wish I was closer to the guy, but I never have been. But like him standing up for somebody he didn't know, small local band to a huge band, like standing up to them to where like it was on alt press, it was on all these other publishing sites, like because of what he stood up for, because this huge band was being a fucking dick for no reason.
Well,
It had no effect on them.
right, right. Um, they that's a perfect example because they only had one hit. They only did one single that did really well. It was number one on the charts for a minute. Um, I don't think they had any other charting songs. And I actually listened to them back when I was younger, when that hit was like a thing. I actually like the song,
Loved them.
but
And like to this
now
day,
I
like
don't.
I still probably know every word of the song.
Yeah, yeah. But because of all that stuff, I won't listen to them. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that is a perfect example. Good call. And I totally remember that story. It was everywhere. It was all over the internet. Any music site, it was on there. So hopefully, I don't even know if that band is still touring. Hopefully they don't. Yeah, because they're dicks.
Yeah. And like on a complete side note, like our dude that called him out, like I wouldn't fight him. Not a chance.
Andy.
Like he
Oh,
ain't a huge guy, but like he's got enough crazy in him. Like I ain't fucking with him. Like
we actually boxed. Remember that funeral home in Cedarville that Brad
yeah,
Walcott and all those guys lived at? Him and I boxed there.
how'd that
I
go?
said someone's name. That didn't matter. That was a long time ago, and there wasn't anything bad about that. That's just where they
Yeah.
lived. But we would have little living room boxing matches or whatever. And him and I did, and yeah, he can hit hard.
54. I'll put at 54 if you want to bleep his name
Yeah, it didn't matter that much, but
out. So like, and also like, if you're like a metal screamer, hardcore screamer, like, tell me a better name of a dude.
yeah, yeah, true.
Like that's perfect.
Besides Corpse Grinder, that's the singer of Cannibal Corpse.
That's his real name or his
That's what he
name
goes by.
now.
It's his handle. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, it's awesome. It's like the most metal that you can get. I mean, along with the same thing, just because the travel is obviously on my mind, we can slowly transition if you want, or and if you have more to talk about when it comes to cocky professionals, but they're not actual professionals. That's kind of the whole point of that conversation. Um,
I mean, I think everybody knows like the person, the type of person, the people we're talking about, like those, like you, you don't need to act like that. Like
No.
the over aggressive security guard, the over aggressive bartender, like we all got lanes.
Mhm.
Know it.
Mhm.
So yeah,
And the other
let's
thing too,
transition to whatever next you want to go to.
yeah, I was gonna say the other thing too is I don't think that anybody that allows things to eat at them so much that it affects their entire world, including their job, they
Mhm.
probably won't be able to do very much besides that specific job because of that attitude.
Yeah.
So, no, travel etiquette.
Oh yeah.
This is what's gonna get me
So
fired up.
yeah, we're gonna take a pause at 56. Okay.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I have to pee.
Okay. And does my mouse die? No. Okay, there it is. Now play the music. I feel like I'm on the island again.
Island Boys.
Island boy. All right. We just went and took a pee. If you guys are curious, we are getting back to talking about travel etiquette. Holy dumb people in the world. All right. I guess I'll start with why do people stand up before it's their turn on a flight? Put their butt in other people's faces, get their bag down, hit people, stand up, stretch, feel like it's okay to go in front of other aisles or other rows before it's their turn down the aisle. Why is that okay? It's not. And when is somebody gonna retaliate in a way that people just sit down until it's your turn? I don't care if you have a flight. We all have other flights, most likely. Sit down.
So I was on a flight where a guy, as soon as the plane landed, he jumped up, grabbed his bag from the top, and sat it the fucking up. Like nobody's passing my bag. Put his foot in front of it and just left it there. And like I'm a row behind him, like, my guy. Like, I'm gonna follow you, and if you go to a bar, I'm buying you a fucking beer.
I mean,
Like being
yeah,
a hoss about it, like I love that shit, man. Like
yeah. I mean,
those people that like they're both aggressive. Like that guy versus the people that are hovering over you with their butt or dick in your face, like to wait to go. Like we literally have about 30 minutes before we're gonna get to move anywhere. Like let's back it down a notch.
yep.
We've all been on a flight. We all know we aren't going to go anywhere. So like let's just chill for a minute. Like I don't need your shit in my face.
Yeah, a lot of people I've noticed will give me like the eyeball if I'm on the aisle seat and they're in. When I land, I don't move, and I always have my iPad watching movies because I usually it's got its flap that covers the front of it, like one of those cases an iPad comes in. I put that into the little holder for all of the airplane safety stuff, so you don't actually need a screen. So this thing is the way to go when it comes to flying. I can almost always watch a screen right in front of my face, cross my arms, put my hands in my pockets, whatever I want to do. Not even on my phone. Just watch movies because I download them from Netflix and then watch them without internet. It's perfect. So yeah, that's one of the things. Definitely, it's a pet peeve because you can't go anywhere. None of us can. So it's rude, in my opinion, if the rest of us have to sit down and say it's 3 seats on one side of the plane, 3 on the other, right? That's 6 people if it's full. If you
It's a big
get up,
plane.
those 5 people in that row have to wait until you move to do anything, especially when a lot of the times where you put your bags, when they drop down those hatches, they'll hit people in the head. Like, that's so rude to do that because there's nowhere for you to go. Because if everybody, it's almost every time we land and get into a terminal, somebody gets up in each row. So then the rest of us are just sitting there. I guess it's first come, first serve. Not really, because there's 2 people that are in the aisle. Everybody else has to wait.
But now you have to do this whole fucking awkward thing of like I'm trying to put my bag on, but I'm gonna knock 3 people out
Yeah.
because they're all standing in my shit. Like
Yeah.
oh my, or you have to put it in front of you and like walk with the bag in front of you like you're a fucking pregnant lady. Like
It was really bad when we got to Miami. People were just so rude. Knocking people over with their bags, knocking people over with their giant butts. That's a thing.
So like, I don't know if I don't think I've never flown as much as you, but like I've flown a lot. Like I don't think I've ever gone a year in my life without on a flight of some sort in like my like adult life, and like I understand the etiquette. Like if I'm gonna go through security, I'm gonna put anything in my pockets in my bag except for the things that they want to see, right? And like make it easy. Like I don't have to put stuff in my pockets, out of my pockets. I just take my shoes off, take my stuff out. Typically, I already have my iPad out, so as soon as like iPad or laptop, so like, as soon as we get to the thing, we start putting things in different compartments. Like I just bam, 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 bam. Like it gives me so much anxiety. Like when the person in front of me has like 5 bags, and you can clearly see that they probably have an iPad, probably have a computer. Their shoes are still fucking on. Like you see the bulges in their pockets. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Is this your first time here today? Like, there should be a first timer line in airports. Like, this is my first time ever being in an airport. This is the line you need to be. Oh, no, I'm gonna backtrack. First time ever being in an airport and over the age of 50 and under the age of 21 flying alone. Have a separate line.
Yeah.
And then there's the rest of us. And then there's the people that fly every fucking day. They can have their line that pay extra money for that shit. Like, but like it, like you get that old woman in front of you that like clogs up everything.
Mhm.
Didn't know she needed to take her shoes off. Didn't know she had an iPad on. Didn't know she had this. Didn't know she had that. Like, have you not been alive in the last 25 years? Have you not heard anything that's happened in the last 25 years in airports?
It's
Like,
pretty
come
rough,
on.
right? It's pretty rough. It doesn't make any sense. You should
Like literally, like I get so
get out
much
of trouble.
anxiety over it. Like as soon as we get through the checkpoint, like I don't like those people that are putting their shoes on as soon as they pass through the X-ray, whatever you want to call it. Like those people that are putting their shoes on within 5 feet of that machine can go fuck themselves. Like you take your shoes, you take your bags, and you walk into an open space, and then you get all your shit together.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
don't do it within 5 feet of the security line.
yeah. I'm with you. Speaking of shoes, for some reason, which airport was this? We didn't have to go through. Yeah, so it had to have been the Nashville airport. For some reason, not day one. No, it was day one. When we went through security, they wouldn't let us put our shoes in a bin. So everyone's shoes were going through these conveyor belts and over the rollers, just bouncing around and falling off. People were having to like pick up their shoes at the end, and then the bins would get pushed so much that they would squish the shoes and squeeze them out. It didn't make any sense. She was like, "It's a new policy," and I was like, "Since when?"
So
I
when you
flew.
text me that, I did not understand what you're saying.
Didn't make any sense.
And when you just said what you did, like I would like I feel like someone needed to grab their shoe and smack whoever set that rule in place and set them straight. Because like
So yes, this will actually.
I am speechless. I
Yeah.
like
So
my
this is
mind
a.
is just boggling
Yeah.
right
It
now.
goes back to the professionals that are cocky for no reason, right? Tell me how, or no, not tell me how. I mean, it's honestly, it makes no sense to me how cocky TSA agents are. Like,
Well,
obviously, there
well,
should be a first time
job
flyers
interview
line.
process is you have to get your dick measured. And if your dick is over a certain size, then you get the job. So you're just out there wielding a big fucking stick.
Um, the ironic part about it is, I wanted to make a correlation between the idiocracy of what is the TSA, and also the people that work there have to wear masks, I guess, but not everybody that works at the airport does. It's a very interesting thing. So, like the bartenders at the airports that I've been to don't have to wear masks, even though they're interacting with people a lot more closely than the people that are wearing the masks. A lot of times, it's the people that are behind the machines checking all of your stuff when you're going through security. Every single person that was wearing a mask, that was treating us like we didn't know what we were doing, we'd never flown before. They asked me 18 times if I got everything out of my pockets. The first time I said yes, so I guess the 18th time it's probably still true. But I'll entertain them because I was just ready to get on the plane at that point. I didn't really care. But all of them wore their masks underneath their nose or on their chin, and nobody was enforcing it, and nobody was doing anything about the way they were wearing them. So in my opinion, what is the point? Besides the fact that they say it doesn't actually work as well as we had hoped as humans following those rules. But they're yelling at me to tell me to not put my shoes in a bin, even though I know for a fact they're going to fall off down there or clog it up or cause somebody else's stuff to fall off, which they totally did. Yeah,
Like, you're yelling
doesn't
at
make
me
any
about my
sense.
fucking shoes, but yet you're wearing your mask like this.
Yep.
Like,
So it's a power
come on,
trip
bro.
thing, dude. It
Like,
doesn't make any sense. But the other part that's
get your
really
big
funny
dick
that
out of my
Carrie always
face.
says, Carrie always tells me, she's like, people that wear masks underneath their nose or on their chin, it's just like cutting a hole in the end of a condom. Doesn't fucking work that way.
This leads me into a perfect segue into my joke I wanted to tell you earlier. So, answer honestly, like, you're in a room with 100 dicks. How many of them are you gonna choke on?
None.
So you're that good at sucking dick?
Mm-hmm. Write it down, people. Joe was lining me up for that one. You couldn't wait to tell me that joke, could you?
I've been waiting days for that shit.
Yeah, so I mean,
a
travel
good joke.
etiquette definitely. Yeah, it's pretty good. You should have done the siren noise on your thing. That's so abrupt and it's so loud compared to your speaking voice. Look at the blip. Look at the sound blip compared to your actual
No,
talking.
I know it's so huge. Like if I talk,
I'm
it doesn't even
excited to
pop
edit
up,
that
like-
later. I'm excited to edit that later. It's just gonna be like maxed out. There's nothing I can do about it. So the other thing that's so loud. The other thing that's really dumb is the way that people walk in an airport.
Oh my god! All right, so we're from Ohio, right? Like, there's not a lot of foot traffic to where we have to learn how to walk, right? Like, we get in situations in big cities where, like, I don't know what's going on, so I'm gonna watch the people around me to see how they act, and that's how I'm gonna act. And like a perfect example is when I worked in DC for a few months, and not just in the airport, but like in the sidewalks and the subway stations and everything. Like, if you're not gonna walk fast, you're gonna be on the far right, and if you're gonna be on the far right, on like those escalators that are flat, what are they called?
Just I think it's like a walking escalator. I don't know.
Like
I've never
walking
actually looked that up.
escalator. And like, if you just want to stand there, stand on the right, don't move. But like, I've been on escalators and like elevators and like in DC where like people are on those things just flying up their left side,
Mhm.
and like you got to learn, like, keep your eyes on a pivot, keep your head on a pivot, like don't be in the way of the people trying to get somewhere.
Well, that's the major thing, yeah. And actually, a lot of airports now have like standing lane and walking lane on those moving walkways, which is great. But they don't have lanes anywhere else. So I guess one of the things that has been real apparent to me, especially with this last fun bit of travel we had, walking behind somebody, you're coming up on them just like you would be on a highway, and they decide to slow down without using their brakes, because obviously humans don't have brake lights. So when they're walking through the airport and then all of a sudden they stop completely and just look up or look this way, or they're trying to find where their next flight is, or they're lost, or they found a bathroom or whatever, but they just stop. I bumped into so many people because of that. It's so annoying. It doesn't make any sense. When you're in an airport, if you need to get off to the side of the road, just like on a highway, turn on your blinkers, get over there quickly and let everyone else pass you. Because the absent-minded person that travels nowadays is about to get smacked. It's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
It's so frustrating, man. Like
Yeah, get out of the way.
the
Because I mean, her
anxiety
and
of
I,
traveling
we
comes
tra-
from other people, not from me, not from my family. Like it's from those other fucking idiots who like are completely inconsiderate of what's going on in the world. Like not paying attention, inconsiderate, like just living their own life and
mm-hmm,
like fuck
mm-hmm,
those people.
mm-hmm. I'm with you, man. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I try not to look at my phone when I'm walking to the next place I need to be in an airport, but I do. But that's a pet peeve of mine, is when just like people when I see them on their phone swerving in their cars and like almost hitting me. Same idea, but
Hmm.
it's so similar actually. Humans can't drive and they also can't walk when it comes to airports. But I wish that there were lanes. Idiots in this lane.
So
Um,
like
yeah, stupid.
I've traveled a lot with work, like enough traveling alone with work, and then I've traveled with family, and like man, like it is so hard to travel with like a wife and kids at an airport and keep those same considerate things going. And like me and Jess are like pretty on the same page of like consideration. Like let's get through this. Let's make make this whole thing happen without as least stress as possible. But
Hmm.
like man, like people make it fucking difficult. And like
Really difficult.
we have a few boys and like we'll not all men's restrooms have changing tables, and like so like that makes it even more stressful. So like Jess will go to the bathroom, I'll go to the bathroom, and like I'll take a kid to get changed, and then I'll go to the bathroom. Like there ain't nowhere to fucking change them. And like this sounds so stupid. Like you've never had to like run into this world, but like a lot of men's restrooms don't have changing tables for children, and so like I'll go in the bathroom with a kid, and like there ain't nowhere to change this fucking baby. So like I'll go back out, and like Jess will have to go back into her restroom and like
That sucks.
change the kid. Like it, like it sounds stupid, but like what about the parents that like the dads that are taking their kid on vacation that don't have a spouse with them? Like
Yeah, that's a good point.
where the fuck are they supposed to change their kids?
They just got to do it in the
Like
family bathrooms.
and because that line is short. Like because
That's what I'm saying. That's what they would tell you. That's what they would tell you.
there's 15 different families, all this other shit in that line. Like the line for the family bathroom is longer than any other restroom.
Yeah. It's actually been an hour and 13, not a minute 13.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
Yeah. I was texting you that. I mean, I could go on for days, man. When it comes to sitting in your seat on the plane, you have a specific seat that you paid for. That means your area is within that seat. In my opinion, if you don't fit within that seat, you should have to pay more than the people that fit in the seat.
I love this.
And I'm not just talking about people that are bigger, because the people that have been sitting next to me recently that have been crossing their line of space that they are allotted to have and use on an airplane, they have not been bigger than the seat. They just don't know how to travel. Bumping
No,
me, not
it's
apologizing, kicking me, taking up the entire armrest, which is a normal thing that happens. That's why I usually cross my arms. There's no
be
courtesy at
considerate
all.
of the life that's going on around you. Like
Nope.
be considerate. Like
Nope. They're not.
be
Sucks.
considerate of the space that you are allotted.
Yep. And the other thing too, and I know I typed a lot of this stuff up, but I probably said it a lot more funny because I was angry. When I get angry, I guess I say things that make you laugh. But the thing that's funny to me that people don't really talk about, seats on planes move around quite a bit. So can you imagine if you are sitting in a seat that somebody behind you that's using the tray, that's using anything on the back of your seat. Everything on the back is for the person behind you, not for you. That you might be affecting them in some way. You know, they have the little holders for iPads and phones that you can put your phone on display and like watch. If you're moving around so much that you're making that phone fall, that happened to Carrie a bunch of times because the person in front just kept moving around, trying to get all situated, doing whatever, throwing their hair over the back of the seat. That's happened to me a few times to cover my phone or whatever I'm watching, my iPad or whatever. It's just hilarious. It doesn't make any sense. Just sit there, stay in your lane, stop moving, let the rest of us enjoy the flight at your expense, which if I'm trying to be appropriate, I don't know why everybody else can't be appropriate.
I would have fucking grabbed their hair, fallen asleep, and just
See,
give
that's
me a hard tug.
that's how you
And
get
then
kicked off
just,
an airline. Yeah, that's how you get kicked off an airplane, and then you can't come
well,
back.
if we're up in the air already, what's gonna happen?
Most flights, I don't know if this is still the case, but most flights always had a U.S. Marshal on them. So they
I
would
was
like arrest
asleep.
you
What
and
are you
put you in the
talking
back of the
about?
plane. Huh?
I was asleep. I,
You did it in your sleep?
yeah. What are you talking
Nice.
about? I was asleep. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, fuck those people. Like,
Dude, it's just really interesting. I mean, talking on the speakerphone before you fly or once you land, really loud so everyone around you can hear your conversation, but no one gives a flying fuck.
like that right there. Like, you know how many times a week, sometimes a day, I have a cashier. Like, I took their order, but the whole time they were on their phone, was on speakerphone. So I don't know what like they were saying stuff. They were saying stuff. Like it was going back and forth. So like yeah, I fucked their order up. Like it was confusing.
What do? You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I might sift through that to make sure I don't say anything bad, but it's just dumb. I know that people are like, if you don't like it, you should pay for first class. I've had people tell me that travel less than
But
I do, but they also don't
but
travel often. So those are probably the people that do those things.
the people in first class have an entitlement. Like I've had that whole thing too. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I, I think that as a society we have to go into traveling as a group effort. Like we're all trying to do this together.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get from point A to point B to C, D, E, F, G without the airlines fucking us. So
Mhm.
like let's let's band together. Let's be some brothers. Let's figure this out together.
Mhm.
And like I've had some really good experiences and like I have less bad experiences, but the bad experiences, man, they send you on a tailspin.
Yeah, man. Makes me not want to travel, but I also love it too. So there are a lot more benefits than negative things.
Yeah.
Carrie and I, there was one time we were traveling together, and I told her, I was like, do you think that I could profit off of an etiquette class for traveling, like a traveling etiquette class to teach people to be less stupid?
Let's find out.
Yeah, let's do it. And it definitely
Okay.
is, I don't know. I don't think it's a learned thing, though. I think it's just common courtesy in general that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Don't be an ass. Like
Thanks, COVID.
legitimately, like
Yeah.
people are so headstrong on being disrespected while they're disrespecting.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you wanted to touch on today before we cap it off?
No, man, like I was going to say the same thing. Like I think we nailed this right in the coffin. Like we're at like a little over an hour. Cut out the first bits, our fuck ups of trying to introduce this and ourselves. Like I think we did all right.
Yeah, not bad. Well, we can sign off real quick on the actual recording if you want.
Yeah, man. Like so, like we're gonna try and sign off. We're gonna do the whole social media thing. We're gonna try and get it all straightened out. Put it underneath the Best Man Pod and follow us, like, and share us.
Yeah.
All that other stuff everybody else says, right?
Yeah, give all the support. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and we don't have a website, but we don't need one. So, and then anywhere you listen to your podcast, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
That would be great.
Appreciate you. Love you guys. As
Appreciate you. Okay, bye.
Move